A man was adrift in the ocean for 3 days and 3 nights after a plane crash. And just as he had completely lost hope, he finally saw land. He immediately brought his raft to the shore and then carefully walked barefoot into the jungle to see if there were any signs of human life. But after calling out for a long time, no one answered. All he heard in response was the relentless sound of the waves. So the man made a distress signal in the sand with his feet, hoping that a flight passing overhead would spot it. After this, he used the raft to build a simple shelter right on the shore. Completely exhausted, he postponed the rest of the planning until the next day. But at night, just as Tom lay down to sleep, a very strange sound suddenly came from the jungle. Sensing this unknown danger, he immediately became alert and, terrified, stayed awake all night with the oar of the raft in his hand. The next morning, Tom saw that the distress signal written yesterday had been nearly half washed away by the waves. To stay alive, he immediately collected dry wood and chose an open space where the waves could not reach. And there he made a signal even bigger than before. Fortunately, at that moment, some courier packages washed ashore. Tom picked up all of them, thinking that they might be useful in a difficult time. But then the same strange sound came from the jungle again. He became alert again and shouted loudly. When there was no answer for a long time, this time he gathered the courage to decide to go and see what it was. As soon as he reached there, a ripe coconut fell from the sky, and he got scared. It turned out that the strange sound was just the sound of a coconut falling, and Tom breathed a sigh of relief. In this way, he collected even more coconuts. It had been a day since he had drunk water. He slammed the coconut hard against a rock, but it did not help. Then he hit it with a sharp stone. That was also useless. Then he broke it with a stone lying nearby, but the stone itself shattered into pieces with a single blow. Finally, he found a sharp rock. This time, Tom was sure. He continuously cut the coconut with that rock knife, and finally his hard work opened the coconut, but there was very little water in it. Failure is the mother of success. Tom learned his lesson and managed to make a small hole in the coconut using a sharp rock. He immediately put the coconut to his mouth and greedily enjoyed the sweet water. After drinking the water, Tom packed his belongings and set out to look for any other chance of help nearby. He kept walking along the edge of the rocks, but morning turned into evening. He found nothing but one more package and realized that he had circled back to the same place. Tom became somewhat disappointed. To confirm his suspicion, he decided to climb to the top of the rock to see if it really was a deserted island. Bad luck. Just then, his foot got cut on a rock, and a lot of blood started flowing. Tom tore his pant leg and tied it around his foot like a shoe. Then he stuffed some herbs into a makeshift sock made from the fabric and wore it, which served both to stop the bleeding and as a shoe. In this way, Tom headed towards the top of the hill. An hour later, he reached the summit. He looked down. The place where he was standing was surrounded by water on all sides. And even worse, there was no other land as far as the eye could see. Seeing this desolation, Tom was completely disheartened. But before he could feel sad, he suddenly saw a human being floating some distance away in the sea. Seeing hope, Tom ran down the hill and quickly swam towards the man. He was the captain of his crashed flight, but the captain was now lifeless. He dragged the captain to the shore. Tom could now only collect useful things. He found a flashlight that was fortunately still working. Then he took off the captain's sports shoes and measured them against his foot. The size was a little different, but they would work. Then he found a wallet in the pocket which contained a picture of the captain's family. Seeing this picture, he became very serious. The entire happy family was now incomplete. Perhaps the captain's family would be in deep shock. Tom controlled his emotions and decided to bury the captain right there and also place the picture with the captain. Then he wrote the captain's name and age on the rock with a stone. By the time all this was done, it was evening. At night, Tom felt incredibly lonely and helpless in his shelter. Fortunately, the beautiful picture of his fiancée gave him support. But as the days passed, no rescue team arrived. But slowly, Tom learned to adapt to the environment there. The dew collected on the leaves every morning was his source of life. The clever Tom started collecting the sweet water, which was difficult to find, in a coconut shell. He used the sand as a toilet. Whenever he got time, he went fishing in the sea to fulfill his protein needs. But even after working hard for a long time, he did not catch anything. One night, when he could not sleep and was walking on the shore, he suddenly saw a light far away in the sea. He immediately guessed that it was a big ship passing by. When there was no response, Tom excitedly started shaking the flashlight to attract the ship's attention. But in the vast sea, that light was like an ant. For help, he took his raft and set out to chase that big ship. He did not want to waste any time. He started rowing with all his might, but he underestimated the power of nature. Wave after wave prevented him from moving forward. He kept rowing from morning till noon, but he could not move forward even 100 meters. Still, he did not give up and kept rowing. Finally, a huge wave overturned him, and unfortunately, Tom's thigh hit a rock and it started bleeding. He screamed in pain. Disappointed, Tom dragged his injured leg and broken raft back to the island. Just then, it started raining heavily. Tom immediately covered the courier packages with the raft. Without a shelter and with an injured leg, he was forced to go to the mouth of the island's only cave. He looked around with the flashlight and, feeling safe, he crawled into the cave with difficulty. Fortunately, there was waterfall water there. Exhausted with thirst, he put his head in the water and greedily began to drink. But while drinking, he passed out and fell asleep. He even forgot to turn off the flashlight. The next day, when Tom woke up, the flashlight battery was naturally dead and his wound had badly festered. If he did not treat it soon, he would die within a few days. In his desire to live, he decided to open the packages that had washed ashore to see if there was anything useful in them. The first package contained a pair of skating shoes. The blade underneath looked useful. The second package contained a volleyball, and the third contained an evening gown. He looked at it, but he could not wear it. But the black mesh of the gown looked useful. Opening the later packages, he found a cassette and some useless paper contracts. But when he started opening the last package, he hesitated because it had a picture of angel wings on it. Perhaps this was his last hope that he wanted to preserve. After all, hope is what gives the strength to live. Tom made good use of the items. He spread the cardboard of the packages like a bed. Then he bandaged his wound with the blade of the skating shoe. Cutting coconuts also became easier with those skating shoes, and he could also sharpen a spear with it. Soon, he caught a large crab. Having not had protein for many days, Tom went crazy with joy. He immediately took out the crab meat, but the meat was completely raw and bad. Eating it raw could lead to him dying from infection. Then he made a net from the gown's mesh and easily caught a small fish. He immediately put it in his mouth and started chewing. But while chewing, he felt that something was missing. Then Tom realized that he needed fire. In this way, he tried to light a fire by rubbing wood like primitive humans. He placed pieces of paper under the wood and started rubbing continuously. But he had no idea that he kept rubbing from afternoon till evening, and not a single spark came out. Despite this, Tom did not give up. He decided to rest a little first. He ate a coconut to gather strength and then got back to work. Seeing the coconut shell gave him an idea. Perhaps rubbing back and forth would create a fire. He immediately started working. He was full of confidence. This method was indeed less labor-intensive, and it also increased the speed of rubbing. But his concentration wavered, and his hand got grazed by the wood. The wound was not healed, and now his heart was also broken. This time his willpower was completely gone. Being stuck on this deserted island, he felt deep loneliness every day. He angrily vented all his frustration. After his emotions calmed down, he became quiet and had to face the truth. He bandaged his hand and started thinking about how to light a fire. Seeing the volleyball lying on the ground, the blood stain on it looked like a face. Tom wiped some sweat from his forehead and drew eyes, a nose, and a mouth on the volleyball, and named him Wilson. In his loneliness, he kept Wilson close to him and started encouraging himself. With companionship, he was filled with strength and started rubbing the wood continuously. Finally, some sparks came out of the wood, but the next moment, they went out. Seeing the cracked wood, he learned a new thing. The sparks were going out due to lack of air. Then he dug a pit and placed the wood over it so that it could get more air. In a short time, the wood caught fire. This success, achieved through his continuous hard work, thrilled him. At night, he built a large fire on the shore. This was the first time Tom had felt the hope of surviving on this deserted island. Then he roasted the seafood and had a feast. He took out a little crab meat with his finger. It was really very delicious. After solving the food problem, Tom began to estimate his geographical location. According to time and speed, he calculated that the rescue team's search area would be up to 500,000 square miles, and this island was also not on the main sea route. The hope of being found was next to nil. There was no alternative. As long as he was alive, hope remained. Due to a long period of vitamin deficiency, one of Tom's teeth had badly decayed. He suffered from toothache every day. he gathered his courage. He placed the skating shoe blade on the rotten tooth and hit it hard with a stone. The rotten tooth finally came out, but the pain of that one moment made Tom instantly pass out. In the coming days, he talked to Wilson every day and drew a picture of his fiancée on the rock to motivate himself to stay alive. Time passed, and 4 years flew by. Tom's initially fat body had now shrunk to a skeleton. It felt as if a gust of wind would blow him away. No one knew how he spent those 4 years. Loneliness had extinguished the hope in his eyes. Tom was living like a living corpse. However, his skill in fishing had improved considerably. He had thought of escaping from the island before, but the ruthless waves had stopped him. Whenever he wanted to die, tired of loneliness, he went to the edge of the rock to hang himself, but he did not have the courage to take his own life. After all, he had promised his fiancée that he would marry her. One day when he was looking for food in the sea, he suddenly found a green iron sheet. Tom was very happy to see this new thing. He brought it to the shore and stood it up and sat with Wilson, admiring it. But as he looked at it, another idea came to him regarding that sheet. It was light and did not break even when bent. This was the best material for making the sail of a raft. The hope of leaving the island awoke in his mind. He immediately started working. To leave as quickly as possible, Tom tied the skating shoe to a piece of wood to make an axe and started a fire under the tree. This not only cut the tree quickly, but also dried the moisture of the wood. After preparing the materials for making the raft, he now needed rope. He cut small trees, stripped their bark, and spent days and nights making ropes without eating or drinking. Tom knew that this was the right time. This was the best chance to escape. If he missed this chance, he would have to wait until next year. He cut down all the small trees on the island. He even used videotape, but there was still not enough rope to make the raft. Then he remembered that when he attempted suicide, a piece of rope was left on the rock. That rope was enough to make the raft. Returning to the cave, Tom's mind was very restless. He knew that the sea was very dangerous and that his life could be lost in this journey. But he could not spend his entire life on this deserted island with a volleyball. Just then, he felt that Wilson was laughing at his past cowardice. He angrily threw Wilson out of the cave. But the next moment, he ran outside to look for Wilson. In these 4 years, Wilson had become his friend. He fixed Wilson's face again. In a short time, Tom prepared the raft. He took that winged package, the picture of his fiancée, and Wilson with him, and chose a windy day and pushed the raft into the sea. He began his risky journey. Tom kept rowing and overcame each wave with difficulty. Whenever a big wave came that he could not overcome, he immediately opened the sail made of the iron sheet. Those wings of hope were clearly visible. It was proven that Tom's raft was quite strong. With the power of the wind, they managed to overcome the big waves and reach the calm sea. Slowly, Tom moved very far away. Looking at the place where he had lived, his eyes filled with tears. Remembering the moments spent on the island, he felt a kind of attachment to that place. But he did not stop rowing. By sunset, he and Wilson were filled with new hope. In the coming days, when Tom felt hungry, he would catch fish from the sea, and when he felt thirsty, he would drink rainwater. Even whales guarded him at night. But this peace did not last long. One night, a terrible storm suddenly came, and the sail was blown away. He only held onto the raft tightly so that he himself would not be swept away. The next day, a whale woke Tom up by spraying water on him. But as soon as he woke up, Tom saw that Wilson was missing. He panicked and started calling out for Wilson. Fortunately, Wilson was not too far away. Tom immediately tied the raft to himself and swam towards Wilson. But the rope was too short, and his strength also gave out. He could only watch Wilson drifting away from him. In an instant, Tom felt as if he had lost everything. His last source of comfort was also broken. No matter how much he tried to fight nature, it was all useless. Without a sail and without a friend, he stopped struggling and let the raft drift. He did not know how much time passed. A whale sprayed water on him again. But just then, Tom heard the sound of a ship's engine. He immediately waved his hand for help, and the sailors on the ship also saw Tom. After 1,500 days, he was finally rescued. But when Tom returned to his city, he found out that his fiancée had gotten married and settled down with her own family. She had gotten married and also had children. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.